delighted to be able to have everybody here today. Today's event is Business Innovation and Industry 4.0. Okay, so distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we begin today's event with a little bit of introduction about our panel speakers. So first, I would like to invite our panel speakers to come forward. Encik Wira Ahmad and Mr. Yuvaraj Kumar. Okay. The first forum panelist is Mr. Wira Ahmad, Chief Financial Officer of IMOS Technology. IMOS Technology Sdn Bhd is an expansion of IMOS Technology Enterprise, formed as a platform to cater for increasing demand for high-tech GIS, Global Geography Information System. Their expertise is in geospatial data acquisition and spatial data analysis, especially in airborne remote sensing and in customization of GIS for their various clients. The second forum panelist is Mr. Yuvaraj Kumar Balakrishnan. He is the CEO of CMBTI, Center for Biomedical and Technology Integration. It is a spin-off company from University of Malaya that is moving forward towards medical 3D printing, which is vital for surgery. They use polyjet technology to deliver a range of services, including custom medical implants, prototypes for new devices, and patient-specific models for surgical planning. So, the purpose of the forum today is basically to really understand how these two companies use technologies and new innovation, specifically relating to Industry 4.0. And we want to see, what was the challenges that they face, just a little bit of introduction about their company, and to understand what are the internal challenges and external challenges. So basically, what they had to go through to push a product that is very new in the market. Okay, so maybe they can do a little bit more introduction about what your company is doing, maybe more in depth, because they are the experts. Okay.
All right, very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Well, CBMTI is actually stands for Center for Biomedical and Technology Integration. We're a spin-off company of University of Malaya. We started off as a research outfit. We used to do research on how to create implants for patients who go through motor vehicle accident. So sometimes, when a patient goes through an accident, they actually lose part of their skull. And when you lose part of your skull, you have to replace it. And what normally happens is in time of surgery, when a patient arrives to a hospital in an ER facility, what happens is they will have swelling, so their brain will tend to swell. So you can't really place back any part of the bone that has been cracked or opened up. So what they normally do is they try to put it into the patient itself, because whatever bone they want to reuse, so the idea at the beginning was to put the bone back into the stomach, basically, and leave it there, allow the brain to actually subside, the swelling to subside, and then put back the bone. But then, over time, there was a research that actually says that putting back, it's called autologous, the bone that you put back is called autologous bone. Putting that back in actually causes infection, so it's not really suitable for to actually put it back. So that's when we were thinking, what would be a better way to actually cover that defected area, that empty area over there. So we did a bit of research, so we came up with implants. We thought, let's do titanium, because titanium was already in use. Some of the doctors, what they do during the operation, they just take a flat piece of titanium implant and they bend it on the patient, and imagine knocking, they'll just knock it over the skull to form a more or less shape. And that would be the end of the whole surgery. So what we noticed then is patient's outcome was quite bad because it's just trying to fit into a shape that they don't have no idea what it was. And patients were feeling very upset about it, and they didn't like to be looking that way. So then we came up with the idea of why not we find a way to actually cover this area to exactly how it was before. So there was some literature that was suggesting to us that we can actually mirror the image from right to left, that our skull is symmetrical. But the true fact is it really isn't, all right? But the closest that we can get at that point of time was just to mirror the image. So if you have a defect on the left, we took the right side and then we mirrored to the left. And then we used that left image that we got, we created a mold, and we used the mold to then push the titanium implant to actually shape the missing part of it. Now, looking into that, we noticed that, okay, patient outcome was good. They were happy, but some of them were still not very much happy with it because they didn't look the same, all right? And the thing about human eye is you can see a 1 mm difference on another person's face. For example, a pimple that's so small, you can probably take it from like a kilometer away, you're like, oh, the guy's got a pimple. See, that's what our eyes are trained to do. We can see the slightest changes. So you can imagine what happens to these patients who come out of surgery and still feel upset that they don't look how they used to. So we got into further research, and we decided that we need to fix this fast. And what we did was we went into the computer algorithms. So we used to have scans of patients' data. We took all those data, and what we did was we started mirroring close to this particular skull. Let's say skull A. Then what we did is we took a database of patients. Of course, we had to break it down to ethnic group, male, female. We had to do so many different kinds of things. But imagine doing all this back then. This is back in 2007 when we didn't have the computers to run all this. So this is all done manually. It was crazy. So what we do is physically take one by one skull, put on top. Could this be the one? Could this be the one? And start matching. So when we match and we found the closest match, that's when we decided, okay, this is the closest and we're going to use this data. Right. So from there, what we did was, okay, this is still nice, but we're still not there yet. We're kind of a perfectionist. When it comes to things like this, people get a bit OCD. They want like, all right, we have to make sure that it's perfect. Then we thought, okay, probably we can do something better. Then we thought of introducing what's called region growing. We wanted to introduce an algorithm called region growing. That means from point A to B, which is missing, we allow the computer to compute the possible trajectory that goes all the way to the top, right? And how it looks like and all that. So when we did that, we found that it was more accurate. Patient outcome was getting better. Patient was much happier. And with that, we started to then bump into, and that's when the 3D printing came into the scene. That's like 2009. Right? So 2009, 3D printing was only known for the usage in automotive industry. Those days, it's all about 3D printing. They used to build cars and stuff like that. No one actually looked into the medical side. But at that time, we actually took that opportunity, we used it, and we started to print the skull. We used to print the skull, and the skull was actually anatomically accurate. And how we know it was anatomically accurate was the implants that we were building happens to drop straight into that defect area and fits perfectly. So that made us somehow validate that it's accurate, but we don't know whether for sure it's accurate or not. So what we did is we worked together with the neurosurgery department. We got them to actually, we printed a skull, and we got them to register it into what's called an image-guided system. I think Mr. Vira will know all this, what image-guided system is all about. So what it does is, it's a system that you use in neurosurgery to find and locate where your tumor exactly is, right? Not many hospitals use the system. You should be happy that actually fully utilizes the image-guided system. We have a lot of this image-guided system, but not many people know how to use it. But in University Malaya Hospital, they actually used this system. So what they did, they registered the patient head. How they registered the patient head is to use a CT scan. So register the patient head, and they tried to test the image-guided system to see whether it can actually register this 3D printed model, whether it can be registered or not. What normally the image-guided system do is, it only registers real patients. It doesn't register anything else. So we wanted to run the test, so we actually did it, and we just register it, and eureka moment, it came out registration successful. So that's when we knew that what we're doing is about more like 100% accurate. So whatever we are printing out is actually the exact anatomy of any single human being. So here's where we went to the breakthrough, and this is where CBMTI and together with University Malaya, we were the first to actually come up with anatomically accurate printed models with pathology inside. That means we introduced the tumor inside, we put the whole skull, and then we can actually register it, and you can actually run a whole operation on that model. That means we now can train surgeons to do this kind of operations, and we don't have to worry anymore. So what we were doing there is, obviously, as we are going through the technology, we were discovering things, and that was really interesting. Every discovery was interesting. Now, when we were not thinking that we're going to start teaching neurosurgeons how to do a proper surgery. We never thought about that. All we thought was how to cover a hole, a simple hole on the head. And from there, we ended up teaching neurosurgeons how to do surgery. So this is the evolution that happened in CBMTI. Now, I'll probably give Mr. Vira a chance to speak as well about his company, and then, and then we will continue talking about this further. Yeah, Mr. Vira.
Assalamualaikum and good evening. Okay, let me introduce about our company, iMOS Technology. Okay, there are two things here. One is the GIS, like Dr. Nana mentioned. GIS stands for Geographic Information System, and combined with remote sensing technology. Remote sensing basically, in a layman term, there are sensor technology that you can use it remotely. You can access from remote. This remote sensing technology actually was developed a very long time ago. Especially the developed countries use it, apply it at the satellite for spying. Remote sensing technology okay, in military industry. But somehow they start to commercialize and start apply this remote sensing technology to the civil application. Okay, here comes about our company. We apply remote sensing technology for agriculture. One of the technology that we use is called LiDAR. LiDAR stand for light detection and range. In simple terms, we use laser scanning. For example, if you have plantation companies, they have, for example, like 10,000 hectares of land. So they want to decide what to do, what is the best crops to grow that give the highest return from their investment. So we run with our laser scanner, scan and get all the GIS information on that land. And we study with the all the terrain, or the rivers that flow inside that. And we start to create or develop like an architecture, want to build a building. So we make a design for the irrigation system, for the road patterns, and information of the contour of the land. What is the best crops to grow? Whether be palm oil or rubber, or you want to grow something else, maybe musang king, don't know, Okay, it's very famous now. No joke. People make a lot of money from Musang King business, from durian business.
Yeah.
So there are some challenges when you want to apply the new technology, especially we're talking about agriculture industry. Because most people more towards like these biomedical things, automotive, rocket science, all those things. But leaving the agriculture sector a bit left behind. So when you want to apply the technology, whereby these people who are really well versed in technology or in the other industry, so the receptance of the generation who managing the agriculture is a bit difficult to to integrate. But anyway, it's our job to educate, to share and educate how useful, how beneficial this technology to be applied in the agriculture sector. To suit with the government aspiration now, they are looking for, they call it, this term is precision farming. I don't know whether any of you have heard about this term, precision farming, where how you want to maximize, for example, from 1 hectare of land, if under normal conventional practice, you produce 1 ton of product, but on the same piece of land, you want to produce 2 tons or 3 tons. How? So these are how technology comes. And at the same time, how you want to minimize the cost, especially the fertilizer, pesticides, herbicides, all those things. And also, you want to manage digitally. Meaning you take on the information or data, and you analyze. So those were the things, basically what our company is servicing in the business. I think maybe that's all first, and then I let for you people to maybe ask.
Okay, so basically, that's basically what the companies are doing. When we look at Industry 4.0, it's basically how do we use technology differently. And it is the current government's move to go ahead and try to revolutionize a lot of industries. The problem with new technology and new innovation is, of course, the challenges that these managers face when they want to introduce something new, acceptance and all that stuff. We're going to divide this into 3 main discussions. The first thing is that I think both of you already answered the first topic, where we actually say, how did your company come up with the innovation? That's already covered. The next thing is, because these are mostly management students, so we're going to focus a little bit on the management aspect. So what was the most challenging managerial challenges that you had to face when you are coming up with a new innovation from an internal perspective? What failures did you go through, basically?
In the management of you mean the internally or? Okay, internally for IMOS technology, I don't have much of the problem managing these people, because most of them are the younger generation who are tech savvy. They know what they are doing. Okay, and then the work scope of them are very specialized in especially in geomatics analysis and data analysis. And what's the biggest challenge? The biggest challenge basically how to interaction, communication with the
Management probably, right?
Because they are like more
Silo on their own, silo on their own.
They have their own world.
Yeah.
You know.
That happens all the time. Yeah.
So people management is one of the key issues for them.
That's the biggest challenge that we're facing.
For internally. What about funding?
Yeah.
Funding, how do you manage the funding for your, because all these equipments are not very cheap.
Okay, there are that what we apply. There are two ways that we apply for funding. But of course, to start business, you have to have some of your own capital to kickstart. You know? And then, okay, remote sensing equipment are not that cheap. You know? One sensors full set costs you like 1.5 to 2.5 million ringgit. It depends on the resolution of the sensors. The higher resolution will be, of course, will cost you a lot more money. So there are two ways. First, we apply for government grants, of course, from MTDC, and at the same time we also look for like a soft loan from PUMB, and MTDC also have a soft loan. They call it BSF, Business Startup Fund. And that one way, meaning you borrow money or you ask for money. The second way is we create a collaboration with the supplier of the equipment. We make a deal like a smart partnership based on project basis.
I think we did the same. Smart partnership is the best way forward. We can't really depend on government funding, as you all know. It's becoming an issue. So you know, like what Mr. Wira said, getting into smart partnership is the way forward. Thinking of, I have 50 cents, you have 50 cents, let's put it together, make $1, and let's do this business. I mean, this is how all of us have to start thinking. In a managerial level, you can't go to, I have no money, so I can't do that project. You can't do that. Because as Malaysians especially, whatever you do is never good enough, right? So it's not easy to say that you're first in the world or you're the best at something. So you just have to invest whatever it is to show. What you can see is normally what people believe. I'm sure Mr. Wira had the same problem when we go and pitch the ideas, right? They look at you and go like, can you really do it?
Yeah.
But I'm sure they would have said, mapping?
Definitely,
mapping?
exactly.
from up there, finding out terrain? No way. Okay, kind of things, yeah. So we all go through all this, but you know, sometimes I call it we cheat ourselves. We say that we're good. Even when we have no money, we are good. We're good, you know. I mean, that's the only way you can move forward. You have to do that. It's fortunate and unfortunate. It's unfortunate that it's Malaysia. It's fortunate it's also Malaysia, and that's why we can do a lot of things. Okay, I'll probably share a little bit, you know, like for us to get a facility in the hospital to do this research, if I were to be in US, by the time I finish the litigation forms and why and how I can enter all that, I won't even do the research. But because Malaysia is a bit, you know, we're kind of a bolela kind of thing, that actually helped. Sometimes bolela can actually help, right? So you got to take the best of everything. Don't look at it at the worst point, right?
Bulldoze,
yeah. It's called bulldoze through.
So bulldoze the government also?
Yeah, I mean, bulldoze whatever. You see, what I mean bulldoze is if you have an idea and you believe in yourself, just go all out. You know, like, you know, until today, the whole team sits together and sometimes we ask ourselves, are we cheating ourselves here? Say no, because we look at the outcome. See, like on our side, we're giving something to the patient and there's an outcome. Okay, so we don't care, we're just going to go. So we're going to do what Mr. Wira said, bulldoze all the way through. Yeah. Have to, yeah. It's do or die. You have already put your leg in. You can't take it out. So you go all out. So you go all the way. See, I started in 2006 and now it's 2018. That's 12 years in the same industry. Isn't that crazy? A lot of you probably jumped 7 places, right? But be wondering, why am I still in the same place doing the same thing? Well, you believe in something and you haven't achieved it, so you're just running. You're just running, and you don't know where the end line is, but you're running. And sometimes you think the end line is near when people say, you guys are the first in the world to do 3D printing in medicine. Then you go like, wow, okay, that's it. A bit of light showing there. So this is the right way, let's run. So these are the kind of things I'm sure we both probably look at, and things that we look forward to keep on marching. Yeah.
But when you're being stepped down by all these other hurdles and all that, how do you motivate the people under you? Like you say your engineers are a little bit in their own world. How do you cater for those management issues?
I think this is my engineers here? No. Okay. So this is where I won't say you're lying to them, but you can't tell them everything. Okay. You have to hide some things as a higher managerial level. Okay. I'm sure all your companies do that. Come on, don't give me that laugh. Okay. We can't tell you everything. We can't tell you that the bank is empty. Okay. What we can tell you is the bank is going to have a lot of money. When, we can't tell you, right? But it's going to have a lot of money. So these are the talks that we always give. We're almost there, we're almost there, we're almost there. And we keep running. But we have to, at the same time, I'm sure when we give that talk, we're not only motivating you, we're motivating ourselves as well. We're making ourselves believe that this is possible, especially when the manager starts smiling and go like, oh, we're almost there, wow. And then we go like, yeah, you guys, we're almost there. So we all smile together. So it's how we bring the team together. It's a teamwork. You know, if any one of your employees are sad, especially in companies like us, it affects everyone because we're not so huge, we're not so big. Okay, we're not a bank. We're not a bank that we know that every day our money is there. We're not that. We're a company of technology where we don't know whether this technology is there yet, or have we surpassed the whole technology curve? We don't know. We have no idea because it's something new. I'm pretty sure if Mr. Mira was talking about this about 10 years behind, everybody in the room would be laughing. Who would do that? Why would someone want to do a mapping of a terrain? What? They'll say something like that. You know, they say you're wasting time. But today, talking to you guys, none of you think it's weird. You guys think it's wow. So you know how long it took. But if you ask him, he would have thought about this technology about 10 years behind. But today, it all makes sense. 10 years behind doesn't make sense. So, you know, this is how technology is. We keep running, we keep moving. That's the only way we can survive. Yeah.
And how does it lead to new innovations? Have you ever, what is the next step for your innovation?
Okay, in the GIS, let me establish some ground here. Basically, sometimes we did not realize that we are already living in the technology. For example, when you are driving, you use your Waze or Google Maps. That is GIS, actually. And you see how useful, especially people like me who don't always remember roads. But not only about remembering, it's about time management, because the apps will find you where's the fastest route that you can take to reach your destination. Okay. Back to our application. When I mentioned about LiDAR, light detection, these laser scanning sensors, is under category of sensors. There are a lot of other different type of sensors that people are using nowadays. You know? Laser is one of these. RF radio frequencies, you know, sonar, and opticals. There are a lot of, same goes to your application also. You know? If we're talking about sensors technology, so sensors technology is developing very fast. Like you said, we do not know.
Yeah, we don't know.
How this?
No idea, you know. No idea. This is the thing about research. We don't know where the end of the tunnel is.
But for us, we try to look at solution, you know, by using different type of sensors to solve a problem. You know? Like now we are using these LiDAR sensors, okay, for agriculture. But at the same time, we are also looking for another sensor. They call it hyperspectral sensors,
Right.
to analyze and study the disease of the crops. You know, when we run through the sensors, then from the data collected, from the spectrum that we analyze, we can understand that this crop is not healthy. There's some kind of, suffering from some kind of disease or something. Or maybe it's over-fertilized that costs money to the companies that you can optimize, and managing your costs, and at the same time improve your return, your yield of the crops. So that's another sensors. Maybe in the next 2 or 3, maybe 5, there will be more sensors are coming, that people apply.
I think the biggest challenge is with technology is that it just keeps on growing, and you have had, I think one of the biggest impediments for Industry 4.0 adoption is you put up a high capital cost for some technology, and there is a possibility that some competitor is going to come up with something else and they leapfrog what you're doing and nullify what you're doing. How do you stay competitive then? Because all this capital that you already put into the company.
Okay, well, you've put in so much of capital. Okay, maybe let me go back one step behind. Can I see a throw of hands? How many of you know what Industry 4.0 is? Okay, that's good, because that's what it is now. Nobody actually understands what Industry 4.0 is.
Even the people in it.
Yes, because we are doing all this, and one day they say, guys, that's Industry 4.0. Oh, really? Ah, okay, so we're in it. Okay. Okay, so this is what it is. Ah, okay. So I'm going to give you a simple example today for you to remember what is Industry 4.0. If you just picture this, go back, way back to the ancestral time, okay? Going way back to 18th century. How do you move a machine? How do you used to move a machine? We used to use steam. Use steam, okay? That's Industry 1.0. And then from steam, someone found electricity. All right? I want you to imagine car manufacturing. Imagine a car manufacturing plant. I'm not talking about anything else, but the car manufacturing plant where Henry Ford put up the car. That's like 10 people in an assembly line putting up cars. That's 2.0. Now from 2.0, Henry Ford decided to then, a lot of people started using cars, they were happy and all that. They thought that we have to meet the demand and we have to invent something. So with electricity, they put the autonomous robots to help. That's Industry 3.0, all right? So imagine Henry Ford with robots 3.0. Now from 3.0, you got electricity, you got all the robots doing all the stuff, and then now you're here, where all of you have got a smartphone. All of you can actually go on the internet. So internet, and whatever you use your internet for, becomes the 4.0. All right? So if you want to imagine what 4.0 is, imagine your wireless symbol. Just imagine your wireless symbol, that's 4.0. That means connecting one item to another item to another item and getting an output out of it without having too many people around it. That's 4.0. That's my understanding, because that's what I think it is. So if you come to that, you'll understand how 1, 2, 3, 4 is. So maybe today, the take-home lesson will be, I know what is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Right? So yeah, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4 for you. Now, talking about the capital injection that you were talking about and seeing whether someone else is ahead of us, well, it's a gamble. It's a gamble, because we think what we're doing is right. Okay? Your validation is very simple. You don't sit in your room and you think what you're doing is the best. You need to go out and speak to people. You need to go out of your cocoon. You got to move out. You got to go to a different country if you have to, and talk to people. Don't sit and think your idea is the best, because this is what all of us think. As Einstein or whatever we are, we always think we have the best idea. You'll only know your idea is the best or not when you put it to test, when you talk to people. Someone might tell you that we've already done it. Then what are you going to do? Are you going to sit down and cry? No. So you don't want to cry. So you talk to a lot of people. The important thing about this industry is not to sit in your own room and think you did the best. The thing about this industry is you have to go out there, talk to everyone. Everyone can be a possible teacher to you, right? No one is useless. Everyone has got something to say. You know, the biggest critics, Malaysians are the biggest critics of everything. Especially what a Malaysian does, Malaysians are the biggest critics. So you need to talk to the Malaysians. They'll tell you, well, I don't use this. Why do I need this? You see, I'm still facing the same problem today. I am trying to sell my products to Malaysians. I am not able to sell my products to Malaysians. But someone from US wants to buy our product. So I'm really not sure where we are. Okay, so that's why you need to talk to not just your people, you got to talk to other people as well. Validation only comes when you are able to talk to everyone. See, I can't just look there and talk to the gentleman there and say that, hey, my product is good. And the guy over there says, hey, I've already used it and it sucks. I have to turn there and say, hey, you who told me the product sucks, please tell me why. I have to listen to it. See, when I listen to it, then I know I'm putting the right money at the right place. And you probably saved me from putting another $100 million on something that you know it sucks, right? So why am I going to put another 100? Someone in this room actually thinks it sucks. That's great to know. You see, nowadays, you know, when we first started, we always have these people telling us a product, you know, we already did this, we already did that. We used to take it too personal and go like, oh, you know, all down. But as more people say this kind of stuff, we then go and ask them, why do you think this is not good enough? Then they'll tell you their idea. Then you get 10 people telling you their ideas why it's not right. You have saved a lot of money by listening to all those critics. So that's a good thing. So that's how you carefully place your capital. Your capital is what people think about your product, right? I mean, we've all been there. We stood in front of grant funders and we say we are the best. And grant funders, they go to different countries. They have seen everything around the world. And if they turn around and say, we've seen this somewhere, you're going to go like, oh, where is it? Never try to say, that's not what it is. No, mine's different. That's different. That's probably got some error somewhere, some problems there. Listen, if you don't know, say you don't know. It's better. Don't try to be smart. Don't try to tell people that, you know, this is better than everything else in the world. No, you have to take the critic. You take the critic, you can go faster, spend less. You think you're smart, you go all the way, and you drop somewhere, and you never can get up because there's too much of money wasted. So that I probably answered your question. Mr. Wira?
Maybe I just add a little bit. Back to this funding. Maybe we are already past the stage, but not yours. You're still young, below 30 years old, right? So nowadays, there are several funds that the government try to help, especially at this stage, when you are this idea stage, when you want to develop so-called like a POC, proof of concept, or a prototype, you know. This category of fund is called seed capital. Okay, seed capital. Seed capital might not be big, but it's enough for you to come up with the POC, with the proof of concept. So seed capital normally range between 150,000 to 500,000. That you can get it from Superb, you get it from Cradle Fund under MOF. Superb is under what? This Traju or something. Traju, yeah. From Traju. And also for small business, there are like Tekun, but that one is for different purpose lah. For
SMEs and
SME corporation also have some. This range for seed capital. And so you are still not too late to start. You can grab this with a proper documentation. and start apply. You know, start apply. I think for this seed capital, because you do not know yet whether it's viably commercialized or not. But you have to start somehow. Maybe along the way you get the idea how to improvise the things to make it commercialized, you know, that have a commercial value on it. You know? Maybe a combination of 2 or 3 different ideas to make one product. We do not know unless we just do it first. You know?
I think taking from what you said, working with people is a very good idea here. If you want to save your money, there's some things that you can do very well. There's some things someone else can do very well. What you do is you get together. So you use less of resources. You don't need to hire people. So you use that, you take that as an advantage. So I think that's what you mentioned as well.
And there's another trend of sourcing of fund. But here in Malaysia is still new. I can see a lot of room to enhance. It's called crowdfunding. I don't know how many of you heard about this crowdfunding, but in the developed countries like US, Europe, it's getting more popular. You know? But in Malaysia, it's controlled by SC, Securities Commission. So they give license to a few companies to conduct this crowdfunding activities. But it's good. I see it's a good start. And then from this crowdfunding also, they will make pitching with the venture capitalists. I don't know how many of you familiar with the term venture capitalists. There are some people call it angels. Okay. But I can notice one thing about venture capitalists in Malaysia. Most of them, most of the venture capital companies are run by ex-bankers. This thing I see is not that good practice because bankers will carry banks mentalities. Bank mentalities is about risk mitigation. You know, it's about friendly with rich people. Okay. So they try to think of the unthinkable for us. We do not like the bankers' mentalities. You know, it will inhibit the progress of. When we're talking about technology, cannot be slow. It must be what?
Very fast.
Yeah, processes has to be fast.
Fast moving. Because bank is not it's not in the picture for this.
Yeah.
Venture capital, yes, but they must be more lenient than the banks. It should be run by industrialists.
I think basically what you're trying to say here is that when you look at banks, their risk propensity, their risk, they do not want to take a lot of risk. Whereas when you're in technology-based or Industry 4.0, you're actually pushing the boundaries of the what it can be done. And that's the problem with Industry 4.0. The technologies are just evolving very, very fast. And this is what I was doing some work with manufacturing. Many of the manufacturing find it very difficult to invest because they feel that uncertainty. And they don't see, and most are very short-term oriented. They fear that, you know, by applying that in their manufacturing, they're not going to reap that much rewards then and there. And this is the hardest challenge that most of the people who are spearheading Industry 4.0 is facing. You know, the mindset of the people. I think this will be the next that we were talking about. You know, how do you convince 2 things? Of course, the funder we talk about quite substantially. But again, the customer or the people who wants to do the business, one is, you know, they fear that, you know, somebody else is going to copy. Imitation is very high. Technologies can be replicated easily. I think algorithms,
yeah, correct.
I think you face problem where people imitate your algorithm.
Yeah.
Can you give examples about imitations? Because that's or how fast your competitor is coming up.
Okay,
That would be
yeah.
very
So
interesting.
maybe I'll share with you. You see, we also do another product called a medical communications, a digital operating room solution. It's more like a telemedicine thing. So we participate in government tenders and all that. So in government tenders, it says digital operating room solution. This you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. What we normally face is we'll see another company coming in and saying that we can do this, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this. Because a tender process is bring me all the people that can do this. So whoever wants to win a tender will say, I can do everything. They can sell what you want. They can do it all, okay? This is actually, it's not happening just in Malaysia, it's happening in all the countries. Big giants, they move into a space, if they know that they're going to make few millions, they mitigate and they think they can foresee that they can do the project and they just jump in, okay, without knowing that they can do or they cannot do. So I'll give you an example what happened. We were against our tender, we were against a German company, right? We were against a German company and we were doing this tender for Hospital Kuala Lumpur, HKL. So what happened was, obviously the tender list, we both can do everything. And then came to the part pricing list, we are cheaper. Okay, that's good. But you're Malaysian. You're Malaysian, you're not supposed to be able to do this. Is it for real or what? So they give you that look. So we thought, so we took the risk. So we did what the German company couldn't do. We told the end users, do this. Come over to University Malaya, where we have placed a state-of-the-art digital operating room system in a hybrid operating room solution, which is called Sigmit. It's also one of the best so far. It's actually making a turnover, which is very good, and it's making good revenue as well. So it's a very good place. So we told the end users, you know what? We can do all this in the tender, and guess what? Come and try it. Come over and play with it yourself. You don't like it, forget us. So it's a challenge that we threw. So during presentation, we said, you know what? We're not going to show you some people from Europe or some people from America talking, talking about a product. I'm not going to show you some slides. You just come over. We'll pay for your trip to come over. We'll get you, we'll drive you, we'll chauffeur you in. We'll take you into the facilities. You do whatever you want. And if you think what we said we did not deliver, don't buy it. We're okay, we'll walk away. One part we were actually having a heart attack because we don't really know whether we can do this or not, So, but you know what the hell? What do we have to lose, right? So we took the opportunity and we said, just do it. Let's just do it. Okay, so we did it. And surprisingly, the end user asked the same question to the German company. I want to go to your operating room where you have this solution and I want to play with it. And they gave the answers like this. These were the answers. But it's in use. We don't have permission to go and use the facility here. We probably have to fly you to Germany for it. But then, it's end of summer. It's, winter starting. It's not the right time to go. So they were giving all kinds of, stories for that. And lucky enough, they decided to come and play with our system here. And lucky enough, they liked it. And lucky enough, it did exactly what it's supposed to do. And they had a tick on every single part. Oh, it works. Yes, standard, tick, 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 tick. Then the end user asked the question, why are we buying something 3 times the price of something that can do the same thing, which is here? In fact, it does more than what I want. It's doing within my working environment, and it's not doing what you tell me to do from Germany. So you're going to come with a system and software from Germany, and you're going to put me in a class for 1 month or 2 weeks and call it training, and I'm supposed to learn what you guys do in Germany? Then they started to think. So you activate the thinking skills within the end user. That's very important. When you do that, then they start to say, hey, these guys are trying to sell us things from Germany that doesn't make sense here, and we're going to buy it like every single time we do it and not use it like what we always do. So they thought about it and they gave us a chance, and we managed to enter there, and voila, we have one over there. So sometimes you got to take the risk. You got to say, come and try. It's just, sometimes I look at myself like those pasar malam guys in the night market. You know, sometimes, do you know you have more confidence buying in a night market than buying online these days? Right? You agree with me? You buy online, they say it's this, what comes is something else. You don't touch it, don't know what it is. And you can, sometimes you see this very awesome sales guy in night market. You think that give him a job, right? You always think that give him a job in sales. That guy is awesome. Yeah, so that's how I felt. Felt like a pasar malam guy trying to sell something to, you know, and we went all out and we got the opportunity. So yeah, so sometimes it's your mindset. Sometimes it's how much you believe in your own self, your product, and how much you want to sell, all this. So competitors, of course, there'll always be competitors. Come on, your friends are your own competitors. You buy a watch, they buy the same watch. You buy this, they buy that. You know, how are you going to be different? Spend more money, is it? No. Obviously, you can do simple things like change the strap, you know, things like that, and still be different, correct? So what I'm trying to say is you can still have different products, okay? What's important is whether they like to use it or they want to use it, okay? So let them use it. You have a product, don't talk about it. Talking is boring. Even right now, I'm talking to you, you're probably like, oh, when is this going to finish? But the truth is, you should go through it. So we both can sit here and tell you all our experiences, but that's not going to make you any better unless you put your leg inside and get hurt. So that's the best way to learn things.
So Wira, what about you? How do you face your competitors? How did you manage to overcome and convince your customers? Because it's something quite expensive, right, to compare to just planting whatever.
Okay, as for sometimes when you do business, you have your principle, no? In doing things.
Principles.
You have your principle. Well, you have to have style. You know, sometimes you know it might not be necessary, but sometimes you have to have your own principle and style. As for me, I make friends with my competitors. You know, so we said healthy competition. You know, and sometimes we collaborate things.
Yeah.
You know, okay, you go like this, I go like this. If you get, you give me some. If I get, I give you some. You know, we cooperate. You know, it doesn't mean that your competitor is always bad. No, no, it's how you deal with, how you deal with it. But it depends. If you don't like some characters, human being, some people have some character. Okay, just don't do business, but maintain the friendship. You know, because you never know. Maybe someday, you know, you end up with doing business with him in the good way. You know,
there's never an enemy in business. No. There's no enemies in business. You know, whoever hurts you, whatever it is, you just gotta put it away because you will meet the same person. You will definitely meet them along the.
I think the industry is very small, especially in Malaysia. You're going to bound to meet the same people.
Yeah, don't make enemies.
How many competitors do you have? Doing about the same service?
In this industry, people started as LS, licensed land surveyor, and they evolved with application of technology. So there are many land surveyors, registered land surveyors in Malaysia. It's just that what technology they are using. Back to this technology, LiDAR technology, application at the agriculture sector. So we are the first company to do it, but of course there will be more to come, you know, because it's a matter of capital. You can buy equipment. You have money, you just buy. You know, you have money, you can invest on the people. For example, I pay my engineer 5,000. Their company come with money, they pay 10,000. This guy will go for 10,000.
Very true.
I have no right to stop my people from going there. So it's always on how you manage the situation, the environment. You know, it's difficult to teach. It's nothing in the book.
If you're doing this kind of technologies, right? Your team is not someone who's doing the same thing that anybody else does in the industry. So it's very hard to go and talk to someone and you know what we normally face in this industry is to tell people what we're doing at work. That's the biggest problem. It's easy to say, I'm a banker, I'm a lawyer, I'm a doctor. It's so simple, right? You already know what they're doing. Try telling them you're doing a research on blah, 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 A to Z, and you go like, what? Okay, research lah, okay, right. Okay, so you're a research officer, researcher, what are you doing? You know, so people like us, we would rather be nameless, you know, we'd rather be like, whatever, we'll just go to work, okay? And we were doing something very important for the world, but you don't know, okay? I think that's the best way to put it. You know, sometimes it's very important, it's top secret. Sometimes that's the best way to say things, but you know, so this is all about, it's all about, you know, like if you're asking me how my team is still there, to be honest, nobody actually left except for those who got married and have more than 2 kids. Obviously they have to leave because commitment is becoming more. But apart from them, most of them are still around. They're still there because I think they feel the same. They think they're going after something very interesting, but they don't know what it is, but they're on their way. All right. So sometimes tech companies, the retention of the employees are based on a belief system. You know, it's just a belief system, and how your managers create that belief system, right?
So manipulation lah.
I wouldn't say, no, it's not manipulation. It's more of, I don't know how you, inspiration maybe. I don't know. Hypnotize, yeah. No, I don't know. But
so you do group hypnotism.
no, but I think you know what happens here. You know what's interesting in technology companies? Because all of you are doing something different. You're not doing the same. That's why you guys are staying around. Because if you all are doing the same thing, you just jump to another company. Oh, I'm an engineer. What? Product design. Okay, I jump to another company. I can do product design there also. But you're doing product design in medical, in something that's neurosurgery, and then you're doing tumors. How the hell am I going to get a job in another place? What am I going to tell people? Who's going to appoint me? So, yeah, so these are the problems. But what Mr. Vira said was also true. Nevertheless, those competitors will try to form a company, will try to take your people away. But for your people to stay back, it has to be how you manage your company. That means something you're doing in there is right for them to be around. Something that you're giving them that makes them happy. Although it's not money, but something that you're doing right. So yeah, maybe it's in kind, okay? So like in CBMTI, what happens is we don't really check your time, what time you come, what time you go. We only check whether you do the job or not. So you can come whatever time, but you just get the job done. So it's that because you can't force design between 9 to 5. You can't force that. You can't force technology expansion 9 to 5. Technology expansion can happen in the toilet. It can happen anywhere. While you're just sitting and looking up there and you're like, oh, that's the way to do it. So you can't put a fixed time. So tech companies normally don't have a 9 to 5. Yeah, it doesn't happen that way. So any of your employees who have 9 to 5, I'm pretty sure it's a bank.
Yeah. Even banks also.
Even banks, you're going up to 11, 12, and tomorrow morning. So, you know.
Okay, unfortunately we are running out of time. I would like to have a little bit of a Q&A session. It'll make it a little bit more lively. Does anybody want to ask any question?
Just wondering, because of your innovation, how much of your revenue do you put into the research, like furthering ideas or delegating ideas? I'm sure it costs some money. So do you put in a lot of money into that, or?
Okay, normally for R&D, of course, we reserve between 20 to 20% for R&D. Reserve, but we do not know how much we're going to use. But of course, we try to minimize to get it R&D fund from other source. But anyway, we reserve that one.
Yeah, so sometimes the good way to do R&D is to have a few successful products and to have a few not successful products. So the successful products will actually somehow have a little bit of money to go into the R&D of the not so successful products. But whoever came up with the policies in Malaysia actually thought about the future. So there's a lot of grants available. They did think of that, you know. There's not everything is bad. There's so many good things as well. There are a lot of grants out there that even you don't know. And you don't want to know also because you think, I fill up a form, go there, and I won't get it. So you've already told yourself you won't get it, so obviously you won't get it. So you got to go out there and apply for it. Even for all you guys who are here today, I'm sure you have an idea of something that you want to do different, that you see you're doing something every day in your company and you think, hey, I could do it different and I can do it better. All you need to do is go take that idea, draw it up nicely, go look for a funding. There's so many funding. Seed funding from Cradle is about 50,000. You can go up to 150,000 and it goes up all the way. You've got various kinds of funds which they just pay for ideas first. That means you just go and just do a presentation and they pick up your idea and they go like, okay, we'll give you 50,000, let's see what you can do with it. There are so many out there like that. So maybe you should try that. Maybe you should do that. And then you form your company slowly. Don't form your company first and then do everything. People do a lot of mistakes like that. I think we like to form companies. We like to call ourselves everything like a CEO. You know, as a CEO is a catchy phrase. I'm a CEO. Okay, so you know today I'm here today as a COO, but technically I do everything, from sweeping the floor to everything. Yeah, so it's just a catchy name, okay? But in order to get to that catchy name, you got to do everything. You got to get your hands dirty. You got to sweep the floors. You got to do your late nights. You got to do everything. You got to have an empty wallet, okay? Then only probably you can see success. If you're rich, I don't think so. You're seeing success. You're cheating yourself. You're going to pay yourself, and go on, right? Yeah, so these are the things. I mean, if you're looking for like funding and all that, if you're looking at how much to actually apportion for R&D, you should look at what kind of product you're working on. If you think it's too big for you to chew, please don't put your money in. Use the government's money. Okay, I mean in a good way, okay? I don't mean it like waste the government's money. What I'm saying is use the funds allocated, use it wisely because it's all our taxpayers' money. It's mine and yours, right?
Other people's money.
Other people, yeah. In a way, it's other people's money, but be very careful. Yeah. Okay, but also to warn you, they have learned the lessons along the way, the government as well. So now it's all claim basis. They used to down you money. Oh, it's $200,000 grant. Here you go. Have fun, and I'll see you with the report. Today, it's not. That's not the case. Today is tranche 1. Please submit your claims with the proof of purchase and everything you have done, and you receive the check a month later. You know how the process is, right? It's not going to be tomorrow. So things are changing, so be careful, right? And there are still people who still give you money, but it's becoming smaller. The one that dumped the money to you is 50,000, stuff like that. Yeah. Smart partnership, like what Mr. Vira said, is very important. You have an idea, talk to a few people. Okay, this one I have to share with you is very important. We got to take that Malaysian mentality out. I have an idea. She's going to steal it. I'm not going to tell her. Because if she steals it, she's going to be rich and I'm not. Okay, now, okay, the thing about here is a lot of people have ideas, but nobody actually does it. Okay? You can talk to anyone. You see, sometimes people used to tell us, actually used to tell us, you guys are going out there giving talks and all that about your technology and all that. What happens if people steal your idea? We go like, we've been talking for the past 5 years and no one has done anything. No one has done anything. Everybody has been saying we're going to do it, but no one has done it. Okay? The thing about us is we have a lot of ideas, but doing it is the biggest problem. So just go out and do. Now, to avoid competitions, I think in strategic management, you probably learned this is first mover's advantage. If you have a first mover's advantage, you just run. You don't look behind. Problem hits you when you start looking behind. Oh, okay, there's a guy coming. He's getting closer. No, you just run. Run ahead. Don't look behind. You know, like what I think I have to use the term bulldoze through. Just bulldoze all the way. Go. Don't look behind. You don't know where the end is, but just run. And somehow along the way, someone will tell you, there, success. Please step here.
I think the success doesn't last long as well, right?
Yeah, okay. Now, the other thing about running, right? Technology is tiring. Okay, that's why a lot of people die doing technology. I think you've seen Steve Jobs also dying doing technology. I'm not saying that that caused his cancer or his whatever he had, but I'm saying that you invent all the way till you die. Okay, so what's the best way to move forward? You invent as much as you can, and please give it to someone else, and stop there. You know, don't keep going and going and going. Draw a line, and then move on to other things. You know, I think that's the best way forward. So you can keep the generation going. So that's why technology companies always take young people. Okay, the simple reason, okay, I'll probably share with you. Simple reason we take young people is because they are very carefree. They're still with their parents' support. So they don't have to think about car loans, house loan, getting married, girlfriend, all this. So they're very focused for the time being lah. Then it comes to the stage where they get married. Now these people are even better because they've established their technology. They know what they're doing. These are people who are not going to come and try. We want the try people at the younger stage. I mean the earlier stage. The mid stage, of course we do this also. We also put them into the what do you call age groups, what they can do. Now the older people, what they can do, they are very good consultants because they've seen everything. That's why you become consultants at a later stage. You don't become a consultant at a very young stage because you need to know the whole process in order to give the ability to, you know, give whatever feedback that you can give. Yeah.
I think when you grow older, so you understand a little bit more abstract and conceptual things, and you know that gives you the depth. That's make it the difference, I think.
Yeah, true.
Okay, another
other?
question. Anybody else?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so let me just reiterate. The first question is basically about financing. So I think it's more about the crowdsourcing, of the fintech, right? The use of fintech. Am I right? Capital markets. Okay. So what's the pros and cons? I think basically if you use the government funds as opposed to Sukuk or all that, right? Okay. So have you ever used, yeah?
Hello. Hello. Okay. I think there are two different set of questions, right?
Yes.
First is about the financing. The other part is about expanding to in international, other continent like Africa and other place. Okay. First, I share about this financing, like you said, capital market, all those things. I'm not a financial man here, but I have some experience dealing with this. When we talk about capital market, dealing with maybe like raising bonds or sukuk, or dealing with private equity companies, PE companies. Okay. This kind of funding or finance mostly applicable to like a project financing. Like a project financing. It's not like a day-to-day operation of financing. Maybe, for example, I go to one Africa country, for example. Okay, like you said. Okay, and the government give us the concession to grow the palm oil in that area. So it gives me like 100,000 hectares, and you do okay, and give us the concession like for like 30 years to do this kind of project. Okay, that's come raising this sukuk or getting the PE companies to become our partners, and dealing with also like operating as capex and opex requirement for the project to take off. Okay, so being suku or PE these are like the instrument to raise fund to cater for the project financing. So I agree with you, when it comes of this kind of project, it will go for this approach. But this is like a specific requirement, not like a day-to-day operation of funding requirement. This is to suit what kind of project that you're doing. Some project, of course, they give concession because the government don't have big capital. They want you to raise your own capital, but we give you this concession, you do the business, then you collect the money later. Okay. Some countries, okay, we have money, but we pay you progressively. Okay. So when we raise the instrument for funding to suit what kind of project and the term and condition of the project, I think you're more well versed about this, and maybe some of your financial student here. Okay, the other, is that answer your question or not? The first part, okay? Okay. The other section is about expanding to the abroad for another country. Yes, of course, we are planning to expand to other country, and it always comes back to the dollar and cent, the cost of doing business, or the entry point to another country. Whether it's sizable enough for us to establish our outfit in another country, because we always will face the competition when come to I don't know whether you like it or not. This nowadays business economy is driven by capitalists, capitalist economy. So very simple. Capitalists, those who have more capital, will control. It's back to the capital. No? The only way how we want to establish is to study on the costing variation. It's also the approach that China made to expand their business worldwide by lowering their costs, and in doing that they're devaluating their currency value to the certain extent that they make their products very cheap to the world. It's very difficult for you to say no. Like you go to kedai RM2 or kedai RM5, you just grab it. You don't think twice or This kind of approach is workable. And this industry, that's where we need to study. And of course, if we have the local people from that country that cooperate with us, that will be very much welcome. You know, that we can share this information and analyze the cost and the benefit. You know, CBA cost benefit analysis that we can do together. Okay.
Okay, very good.
Is it good? Thank
Okay,
you.
we can only have time for one more question. Okay. Okay.
I ask you about one thing. How do you overcome the fear of uncertainty when you start to work on this so-called industry 4.0? How do you both of you overcome the fear? Because there are a lot of uncertainties.
Okay, like I said, uncertainty, yes, we don't know where we are going, what's going to happen. How we normally overcome is we do a base check. What we call a base check is we go time to time and we go and do pitching. We talk to people when we pitch. So when people tell us that, people give us the look, like the looks that you're giving me now. If you're happy, I know. If you're not happy, I don't. Yeah. So if they give you the look like you're serious, so you know that. So the uncertainty can only be answered by your customers, actually, to be honest. To be honest, if you're doing something and you think your customers are the mass means like everyone's an end user, then you talk to a lot of people. You can overcome your uncertainty or confirm your uncertainty. You can do two things. So if you talk to the 11th person and say, no, don't do it, then you must go back to drawing board a bit and think about it. But as you're going and everybody says that this is the way, it sounds good, we really want, this is what we really want. So that's how you tell yourself there is a market for it, there's a need for it. Or another better way is you guys, all of you are using Google. Just keep Googling, keep checking what's new. Keep up with the trend. Now the problem with 4.0 is there's just too many technologies to keep up with. Way too many. People are talking about, all the unthinkable. Voice command, voice control, controlling lights, controlling this, doing that. But you always must understand one thing. Sometimes being too technical is not the way forward. Sometimes you just have to be simple. Sometimes, actually, most of us like simple things. That's why they keep telling, especially app developers. Do you know we have so many app developers? Because everybody wants to create an app. Let me tell you, stop doing that. Okay, because everybody's doing an app. Okay, and you are coming into 4.0. You know why? So much of data, I don't know what to do with it. You guys are giving so much of data out. Your trend of what you like. You're telling the whole world what you like. And all that is going into the database. Then comes big data. Those guys are having headaches now. Because you guys, what do you really want? I can't understand anymore. So, that's what's happening. But what I want to tell is that if you go today, I've been to so many tech talks, I've been in one of the panels and all that. Everyone that comes up with an idea is an app. So my suggestion would be get off the app, because let's be honest, how many apps do you have on your phone, right? Probably Waze is the main app you need nowadays, right? Apart from that, I don't know. You had enough of Zalora, Lazada, you had enough of it, I'm sure, because you're not getting the things that you ordered. Okay, you're already having that problem. Okay, and then what other apps you want to go on to? I think Facebook, WhatsApp, and Waze, 3 important apps in life today in Malaysia, right? Sorry? IG, sorry, Instagram, sorry, I don't Insta. Okay, so, yeah, so these are the 4 apps that you want to see every day. Even when you sleep, 4 apps that you see. Are you going to go and download another app when a guy says, we got an app for you? Probably you've come to the stage where I had enough of apps. Do you know how many people tell you that you can buy hotels cheap? I've seen so many. You know how many people tell you can buy airline cheap? So many. So, you're gonna exhaust it. So stop the app. Now go on to the real technology. If you really want to do something in Malaysia, right? You really want to do something interesting, look into big data, how to analyze big data, help out these guys who open up all the apps, help them out. They're in trouble already because they don't know what to do. They have so much of data, they don't know what to do. All right? Or go on to technologies that makes your life easy. Simple technologies. You know, nowadays, why we're doing that is because they're very simple people. School kids are very simple. They have a problem, they try to solve the problem. And you know what? Those are the kind of things we really need in life. Now, you'll be surprised if I tell you that we did this program in a girls' school. And all of them obviously are girls. So, and you know, you'll be amazed with the kind of things that they design. You'll be thinking like, wow. They were designing earrings. They were designing things that matter to them on a daily basis. So I would say those are the things you should look into. Your day-to-day problems, solve that, come up with the technology for that. We had enough of all these people who are doing Star Treks. We had enough already. We are going way too much, way beyond don't know where, without knowing where to stop. Okay? If you're worried, now uncertainty, how to be certain? Do the things that people need, that's certainty. Why, if you sit down and think, you know what, I think AI is the future. AI, I'm going to do AI now. Well, you got to wait another 10 years or 15 years because you're in the same situation where we were 10 years ago, 15 years ago. We said we're going to do this. Everybody was like, what's this? We don't even use this. Doctors didn't want to use this thing because they're so used to cadaver. Cadaver was the way of learning how to, cadaver is basically dead bodies, were the way to learn how to operate. So they couldn't stomach us saying that you're going to operate on a model. They were like, that cannot be real. I don't trust it. It'll never be real. Cadaver is cadaver, you know. So it took 10 years for them to understand we can actually operate in this. So if you are the type that don't want to take much risk, look at small products that you can work on. Work on that. And don't, if something that I think this is a good way to check. If someone that you know who's not so tech savvy already know about it, don't bother. Because that means everybody knows about the product. So there's no point getting into it. Go onto something that's unknown. This I can relate to your bitcoins and your crypto and all that. You know, like now everybody knows about it. You can ask anyone, they all know about it. Is it the right time to go in? I'm not saying anything, right? But when it was not known, that was the right time to go in. Today, there's more than Bitcoin. There's so many words for coins. So things change like that, right? So do things that you think is within your reach. And I know Malaysians are very comfort zone kind of people. We don't take risk. Risk is something scary, especially involves money. So that's why sometimes I say go get a grant if you don't want to take risk. Okay, not that you're going to burn the money, but you know, you learn from it. The lessons you learn. I would say if you take a grant money and you didn't succeed in that product, you would have learned a lot. And that's what you paid for. 200,000 for a lesson that you learn is good enough than going to 50 million and just burning everything down, right? So these are ways you can overcome that, right?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we are running out of time. I would like to extend my deepest gratitude to the panelists for spending time with all of us today. And I would like to thank everybody for coming to this event. It's been great having everybody around. So can we give the panelists a round of applause?